Story Tyrant here. Nothing is wasted. This is a big one. Nothing is wasted. You have to do what works for you. And on that journey, you're going to take a lot of trips. You're going to try different writing methods. You're going to read different books. You're going to have different teachers and classes. You're going to try different things, different genres, You're going to do a whole bunch of stuff. And part of you is going to say, oh no, oh no. I'm no good at this. I'm not a pantser, I'm a plotter. Or I'm not a plotter, I'm a pantser. And I've tried for 2 years to be a plotter. Nothing is wasted. I'm not a writing teacher. I'm not a best-selling author. But I am an adult. I am someone who has lived. And I one day may make a living off my writing. But one of the things I had to learn as life got in the way is jobs and school and classes and children and life, broken vehicles and house repairs and shopping and, trying to read books that people keep telling me, oh, this is a really great book, you have to read it, and try, till I slog my way through a book and go, oh, that was a hard read for me. But I learned that nothing is wasted. Everything we do, everything we experience is grist for the creative mill that we draw our stories from and our inspirations from. If you are worried that you're making mistakes, you may not try. If you're worried that, take this from someone who has held themselves back out of concerns of both of success and failure, nothing is wasted. Okay, so a couple years ago, I was writing a story. I had a market picked out. I said, okay, I like this story. It was winter. I tend to write winter themed stories in winter. I don't know if that means anything. I don't tend to write them very often in summer. But I also write all other seasonal stories like stories that take place in all other seasons in winter. But for some reason, I don't write a lot of winter stories in summer. Maybe it's because the summers are very short. Whatever. All right. I wrote this story, and it does not work. It's horrible. It's crap. It really does not work. But I have these two characters that came out of it, these two primary characters, the protagonist and the antagonist. And I put a lot of effort into them. I really, because the story wasn't working, I kept saying, okay, I have a pretty good outline. I goalposts versus plotting. I got rid of the plot because that wasn't working, and I chipped it back to just high points and things they had to interact with. And that'll work. You know what? Okay, well, the problem has to be I didn't develop the characters. So I went back and I worked on their characters and worked, and no, it didn't work. So after spending like 6 months missing a submission deadline, I was sitting there with what many would say is a pile of crap. And I'd wasted all that time. And I could have been working on finishing up a project I already have. I could have been editing. I could have been earning money via my writing by editing other people's work. But no. What I had done was every spare minute I throw myself at this story. I was going to write a story. I was going to write this story. And then I realized, no, this story is crap. So I put it in a drawer, took it out a couple months later. It was still crap. I liked the characters. The story was crap. So I didn't delete it. I don't delete anything. But I printed it off. I don't really care about the story, but I love the characters. Now I have these two ready-made characters that may or may not be thrown into something else. Most likely they will sometime in the future. So that time was not wasted. Also, I had a break from doing a lot of things, which gave me a breather, if that makes sense. And I was able to kind of get back into Blood is Black and get back, it's a big project I'm working on, and get myself back into it. It's almost like you need winter. You know how you have that winter break, what we do here, where you have that break where you can't do anything in the yard, you can't do any big house projects because frost coming through the walls. It's just one of those things where you have to wait for summer to do certain projects, and it can give you a break. It can give you a breather. It's that sort of thing. Nothing is wasted. Everything you learn, everything you read, everything you experience goes into the mill, and then it's grind up in the old grist mill and comes out as part of your creative force and focus and swims up from that subconscious and helps make you who you are. All your experiences change you. Everything you read changes you. You are always becoming who you will be, but you're never you're always a work in progress. So, unlike books, which we can finish, another thing is I took a class years ago, and the teacher talked about creative writers, character writers, theme writers, and I did not get it. My kids were little, we were dealing with teething, so that may have been part of it, and I didn't get it. About 4 years later, I'm looking at this story, and my friend says, "I love how you're working with this theme of entrapment." Both, and I was like, "I'm working with this theme of entrapment?" And she went, "Yes, like it's a really interesting theme here." Whereas this other story, you're working with these characters who have to learn to accept help, to open themselves to the verse, to be more willing to accept aid. And she said, that was really interesting how you have these characters here and this theme here. And it was like that class, I think it was like 5 years before then, it clicked. What the teacher had been saying in that class went click, and that was it. It was there. And I was like, aha. So at the time, I scraped together the money, and my husband helped, and I went to the class, and it was expensive. And not just money, it was expensive in time. Sometimes you have the money, you don't have the time. That's one thing I find, is I often have the money, but no time. When I have time, no money. I think it's for everybody. But it was so neat to know that that class, which I'd worried because I didn't feel I'd got as much out of that class as I'd hoped. And yet, that teacher's advice, that gentleman who was a published author, he did romances and he did mysteries. And it really made a difference, but not at the time. It was almost like I couldn't process that information at the time because there was too much other stuff happening in my life. But it went into my subconscious, it percolated, it did its thing in there, and later on, it was other people who said to me, "Oh, look," and I click, the light just came on, and voila. So nothing is wasted. Just take care out there. Thank you very much. Remember, these are all my opinions. I'm not the beginning, the end, all. I'm just me, and I hope that someone who needs this advice, or it can help them, or it can open some up for them, hopefully that does. Take care of yourselves. Be safe. And from the edge of the page, till next time, and remember, story comes first.